Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Squares of the Round Table with our three hosts here, welcoming you to this wonderful podcast once again on this day. And, of course, I'm Jivin Ivan. To my left is...
I don't know.
We don't have a left. It's radio.
We don't have a left, man.
It's audio. We don't have a left and a right.
Okay.
The one on the right was in the middle, and the one in the middle was on the left.
And, of course, both of them that were on the right should not be on the left, because if both of them were on the right, then there's no left.
Okay. Right. I'm Jeff Stein. With us as well is Mike Boyle.
Greetings.
And this Squares of the Round Table podcast. One of these days, we're going to figure out how to open the show and not sound like a train wreck.
Then there should be a podcast. Then things will really run smooth.
Okay. I don't even know where to... Well, I'm going to leave that alone. But, so...
Man.
Let's see. I can only speak for me. Kind of an interesting weekend. Got a chance to go out and do some role-playing and did some Star Wars RPGs, so got a chance to go save some Wookiees. And then Sunday night I did a presentation out of Midwest Speaking Professionals, and it's, really in reality it's going to be a short week for work because I'm going downtown downtown Chicago to the Toastmasters International Convention. I'll get a chance to see the World Championship of Public Speaking, but I'll talk more about that next week. But I did want to mention something just for fun. As I'm driving back, I happened from where I was at gaming, which was out at St. Charles, at Button Man Gaming. I ran into a Sonic, and for some people, it's like, oh, what's the big deal? But for some of us in certain parts of the country, they've been airing Sonic ads for like a decade. The thing is, none of them are like nearby where you live. Like, the nearest one is like an hour or two away sometimes. So I happened to find one, and I finally got a chance to go to a Sonic, which was, like I said, I didn't even know what to order. That's how much I was like, okay, what do I do? But I don't know. To me, I feel like I'm almost complete in the fast food journey of life, if you know what I mean. I think the only thing I have left really is either Whataburger or In-N-Out Burger. I think that's about it.
You've been to Jack in the Box?
Everything you order?
I did when I was a kid when they used to have them here in Chicago, but I haven't been in a long time. So I guess I can technically say yes.
Okay.
So
yeah, there's a Sonic about 25-30 minutes from here. I've never eaten at Sonic.
It wasn't bad. I thought, I'll be honest, it's more about the drinks and the ice cream stuff and the tots than it is about like the burgers, I would say. And I guess I didn't realize this. I guess it's like a drive-through, so you can either I shouldn't say that. It's like an old school car hop. So you can there's an option to go drive-through, or you order at your car and they bring it to you.
Oh yeah, been to Sonic. They're great.
Okay.
What do you like to eat from there, Ivan?
I've eaten their coney dogs. I've eaten their tater tots. I've eaten their burgers. Their shakes are amazing.
Yeah, that's what I found out.
Their corn dogs are unbelievable. They do have a large beverage menu. They have a large shake menu. And let's just say that it does give you a kind of a retro feel of the 1950s when you walk into a Sonic, when you drive into a Sonic. It's the push button, and our person comes out on roller skates and gets our order. And, of course, they put it on the side of the car. Do you prefer, So it works out great.
Wow. Hey, like I said, I had a peanut butter shake. They had a deal where it was like you could get a quarter-pound burger. Well, it certainly didn't look like a quarter-pound burger because I've seen a quarter-pound burger at McDonald's, and it doesn't look that small. But they had that and tots for like $2.99, which I figured was a good deal. I did get onion rings because somebody said to me you should get onion rings. I thought those were pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I probably should have got. This is the second time I've actually been there, so I had gotten the chili cheese tots previously, and they were okay. They weren't great, but yeah, the slushy type stuff that they do, and the shakes, yeah. I guess I'm asking you guys. I mean, I don't know. Are there places like that where you're kind of like you've seen like on TV, or places like that you guys have or haven't been to? I mean, obviously there's the obvious places that we all get to.
Well, I've been to Super Dogs. I mean, we have the one in Chicago, but then there's a new one that's in oh my gosh,
the newer one that's up in Wheeling.
Wheeling, but it's been there a while.
Yeah,
that's been there a while.
Yeah, and let's see. Then what's one of the other ones that
Dog and Suds.
The Dog and Suds. You took the words right out of my mouth, Mike. Yeah, Dog and Suds.
I was kind of looking national though, Ivan. I mean, they're like the big chains were. Well, I shouldn't say big, because like for us, Culver's is everywhere. But outside of the Midwest, it's people are like, oh, we don't have a Culver's. So I know that's kind of unique to us. I know Hardee's is kind of like one of those things where it's like finding one past like the Indiana border is not easy, that kind of thing. So
well, you have places that are regional. You have places that are nationwide. You have places that are just inherent to the state that they were started up in.
Sure.
In fact, I read an article today about that very subject. Just like at one point back in the 1950s, where there were Howard Johnsons everywhere.
Right.
The orange roofs, I mean, they were all along the highways. They had the hotels. They had the great restaurants. When me and my folks used to go up to New York via the Turnpike, we used to stop in those places and eat. Okay, yeah, Howard Johnson's used to be every place. Now there's no Howard Johnsons. Then there was Chi-Chi's. Chi-Chi's, yeah, there used to be a lot of Chi-Chi's everywhere. Now, according to this article, I think there's 2 left.
Oh,
there was, did you know that Colonel Sanders even had a sit-down franchise for a little while? It was called Mrs. Sanders. And I guess the Kentucky Fried Chicken Corporation kind of did a cease and desist against it. So now what was going to be a large franchise ended up now being just the one place that's still open. And I think that's in Charlotte, North Carolina somewhere. Not
in Kentucky, yeah. Interesting.
So, and what else? Then there was remember when there used to be Sizzlers and Ponderosas everywhere?
Remember, there used to be a Sizzler up by Hawthorne Mall, up by Vernon Hills.
We used to have a Ponderosa right down the street from where I live here in Chicago. It was on Milwaukee Avenue, just past Pulaski. There used to be a Ponderosa. I had the steak, had the salad bar, had the whole works and everything, and just from a lot of the story that I read, a lot of these smaller restaurants ended up selling to Hardee's or ended up selling to something of a bigger franchise when the numbers of these places weren't able to make it financially and or due to different reasons. Minnie Pearl had Minnie Pearl Chicken, and there was a franchise of several hundred places, but their mismanagement of funds and the fact that they didn't have a cohesive menu led to their demise.
I make it a point anytime I travel out east, I have to stop at a Big Boy.
Right.
We still do have some of those in Indiana, though.
Yes.
Yes. We went to one, remember, Mike?
I remember.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
Roy Rogers, what happened? Oh, go ahead, Jeff.
No, I was going to say, what's pretty good that I always forget about? They don't have them this far north, I think. I know they had them in Indiana and they had them in certain places. I don't know how far south or east they go, but have you guys ever been to like Orion Steakhouse?
Orion Steakhouse?
Yeah, yeah.
They have one in Michigan City.
Yeah, it's kind of a better quality than say your Ponderosa or anything like that. and the buffet quality was a lot higher. I mean, it was like if you took Ponderosa and you basically upped it like 5 notches.
There's a place out in Summit. It's called Matson's, which is really, really good. And it kind of reminds you of the old steakhouses, but kind of with a little bit more, I don't know, I don't want to say class, but I want to say a little bit more esteem to it.
Wow, if we're going to talk about steakhouses, though, that's an entirely different animal.
Yeah, we're talking about...
Well, yeah, we're going to talk steakhouses. I mean, you know, if you've been to Gibson's, if you've been to Benihana, if you've been to Rana, Japan, okay, I mean, that's, you know...
They're chains, but they're still like a step up from, obviously, Sonic.
I got to be honest, I'll take Wildfire at the end of the day. I just have never... I can't think of ever having a bad meal, and everything they seem to make is pretty amazing. So, I hate to say it, the price is a little bit better than, say, if you're going to Ruth Chris or if you're going to Gibson's. But that's just me. But yeah, I
like Longhorn. Longhorn is really good.
You know, I wasn't a big fan. I didn't.
I got a 30-ounce steak that I actually split. And for what I got for the price and what I got for the food situation, it actually worked out for me. And what was the other? There's Thank God It's Friday, TGIF.
Yeah. Wow, that place is gone too. I mean, although Mike, you're further out, so some of these places like by you still exist.
Yeah, there's still a Fridays out by here. There's used to be a Longhorn, but I think that's gone. But yeah, like I said, a couple of Sonics, about 25. One in Lake Zurich, and there's one down Randall Road, I think down by Algonquin.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because, like I said, it's like there's certain things we take for granted that we have here that when I say them out loud, everybody gets jealous. Like, you know, most people don't have a Portillo's, or they don't get, you know, Culver's is probably a little bit more fast foody. But, you know, Portillo's, you can't, I shouldn't say that. I think now they finally have one in Indianapolis. And I understand there's a Giordano's in Indianapolis, which makes me laugh because it's like, where were you 20 years ago when I was dying in Indianapolis for a Chicago-style hot dog or like a Chicago-style pizza?
Yeah, Eduardo's is another one that's come and gone.
Yeah, Eduardo's is come and gone too, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, Giordano's used to be big too, and now there's only a few of those left now.
I think there used to be one in Lake Zurich, but that's gone. I think there's still one up by Rosemont, I think.
We have one in Belmont and Sheffield, Giordano's.
Oh
no, they're still in pretty good shape, Giordano's. Giordano's is it maybe not as much in the city, but in the burbs, they're everywhere. I mean, they're just
okay, because in the city they've kind of cut back quite a bit. It's kind of like okay, getting into a fast food place like Arby's. They used to be everywhere, and poof. The only one I know of is over on it's on Waukegan Road. Is the last one I've ever been to, other than the one that's in Indiana.
No, there's one right by my house. There's one not far from here. There's one over in Niles, on Dempster. There's one right there.
That's the one I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right by me. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Dempster by Waukegan there.
Yeah, I used to have an Arby's here in my hometown for years, but it closed down and hasn't moved or anything. So.
Yeah, that Arby's is way popular by us, but just because, I hate to say it, curly fries, I think alone just drives that place. But
like curly fries.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm missing out of the Arby's menu is the barbecues. I used to be crazy about the barbecues. They don't sell them anymore.
No, I don't. No, that's not on there.
I know, it's sad because I used to buy those by the 2s and 3s. Those were so good.
So, Ivan, what'd you do over the weekend?
All right. Well, starting on Friday, I hung out with my mom and dad and stayed with them and hung out with them on the Friday. Saturday, I was at the Royal Palms Shuffleboard Club. spinning on my shift from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m., playing for the Shuffleboarders and doing all kinds of 70s and 80s dance upbeat type of music, and to the enjoyment of some of the people that were around me. I had one lady come up and started to dance with me while I was playing Mambo No. 5, which as soon as I played that track, everybody's like looking up like, what?
Yeah, I wouldn't expect that in your playlist, Ivan.
Oh yeah, I had that. I had a Wild Thing in my playlist. I had
Tone Loc
Hungry for
or
Your
the
Love by
Trogs?
Hanson. Hungry for Your Love by Hanson and Davis. I had Candy Girl by New Edition. I had a mix of different things in the set that I normally don't usually play, but it's the Royal Palms. It's that type of environment that kind of is receptive to these type of things, and being able to disc jockey a different type of thing. I don't have to adhere to a list of anything, so I have the freeform sensibility happening there. So I dropped little things here and little things there. I did Man Size Love by Climax, and I had a guy come up to me, and he goes, Man Size Love? And I said, yeah. He goes, oh my gosh, I haven't heard that song in 30 years. I'm like, wow. Somebody actually recognized it. It was cool. And because we have the 10 shuffleboards on the main floor, plus the bar, and the entryway that the food trucks can drive right into the building, and you can purchase food from over there. We had bocce pizza this time out, and, I could take it or leave it, but but on the second floor, there was the other bar and the rooftop bar, and a lot of people tend to go upstairs and hang out and dance and drink in the open air and have a good time. We keep that open till midnight, and then people make their way downstairs, and then they hang downstairs. We got large versions of Connect 4. We have adult versions of Jenga. I mean, these wood blocks, they're probably about 6 by 6 by 2. 6 by 6 by 2.
Okay.
Yeah, it's huge. Makes us huge. And on the blocks themselves, they have things upon them that if you pull out one, you have to do what the block tells you to do. Because case in point, Julie was with me, and one of the players that came over and talked to Julie and said, hey, can I get your phone number? And I'm looking at this woman asking Julie for her phone number, and I'm like, okay then. And then Julie elucidated me and told me, oh yeah, well, it's part of the game that they were playing. I'm like, oh, I get it now. The old girl still's got it,
The block told you to cheat on your boyfriend?
No, the block told her to get the phone number. Oh. It was a girl that actually asked Julie for the phone number.
Okay.
Yeah, no, they had these different things, I guess, all these, little messages on these blocks. And aside from that, they have photo opportunities where you could go get Goofy hat and glasses and leis and grass skirts and stuff. And they got this little room where you can take pictures and things of this nature. It's a fun little place. For those of you who want to check it out, it's 1750 North Milwaukee in Chicago, and it's called the Royal Palms Shuffleboard Club. And, and that's where I was on Saturdays. So then Sunday, I was at the arcade, Logan Arcade, 2410 West Fullerton, from 1 to 5, doing the Sweet Soul set. Got to slow things down in the Soul Bowl. That was fun. I enjoyed that a lot. Because I'm usually playing all these pulsing, fast, dancing tunes. I actually got to dig into the other side of the record box and play some of the slower, more deepful, more, expressive soul jams. And you'll be surprised. I played a number of different things. I played A Taste of Honey. I played Force MDs. I played Climax. I played Boys to Men. I played a bunch of things. So in these last couple of sessions, I've kind of ventured into some 80s to 90s territory, in some of my passes, and kept with the integrity of the set, featuring the 60s, the 50s and 60s and 70s music as well. So, and Wednesday I'm going to be doing a rock and roll rockabilly set come 1950, which I'm real excited about that. And that's going to be fun. I'll probably broadcast that one unless Facebook decides they want to tag me again, which seems to be happening more often now, but it is what it is. I don't know what to do, but it is what it is. And, so just making some of this moolah so me and Jules can get away to Peoria this weekend for my birthday. Yeah, so long 57, hello 58. It's the great 58. I can't believe it. Time travels, don't it?
Yeah, I guess so.
Forward.
Yep, it all goes forward.
Yeah.
How about you, Mike? What was your weekend?
Mike, how was your weekend?
Let's see. Well, this weekend, I watched Death of Superman, the new animated one. It was good. I was entertained just a little. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't awesome. I think it had it's in the title, so you know what happens at the end. And it's still, I think it has a bigger emotional punch than BVS did. The thing is that the one or two nitpicks with Death of Superman was that they had Rainn Wilson as the voice of Luthor, and it just didn't fit. It just did not fit as the voice of Luthor. The other nitpick I'd say would probably just be, well, obviously the divergence from the 1993 comic, but that's DC Universe for you. They tweaked it correctly. I think they did a good job. There's just one turkey line in it. Just the one line, just kind of like you roll your eye, and then it's done. So, between that and Rainn, and they also had like a couple other. Let's see, they had Rebecca Romaine. I think she was the voice of Lois, and they had Rosario Dawson. I think back as Wonder Woman. I think she does some of the other DC animated films that they've done.
Yeah.
And then the other night I'd watched Infinity War because I got the DVD, and I watched some of the featurettes and the deleted scenes. I haven't watched with the director's commentary yet, but that movie holds up, man. It's like a solid epic film.
Yeah, no, I'll pick it up sometime soon to watch it again, but I am kind of holding off a little bit. Wow, holy cow, is it coming? I don't know about you guys. By the time this airs, this won't matter, but wow, is it coming down here in Chicago tonight?
Yeah, the thunder is booming out of our windows here, too. Up here in the big city.
Yeah, it was pouring a little bit here earlier, but yeah, I can see. I'm checking my radar here, and yeah, it's hitting you guys pretty hard up on east of me.
Well, I need my Mr. Coffee when we're going to talk about Mr. Radar. So,
Mr. Radar. What's the radar? Check the radar. It's 2 more minutes, Chief.
Yeah,
airplane
Chief,
joke.
I'm always on duty.
And then Sunday, we got some yard work done and a barbecue, and I had enough time for a quick game night session, and we played Runebound. And that was pretty good. It was like Talisman, but more advanced, Ivan. So that way it's kind of relatable to you. But it was good. We didn't have enough time to finish the game.
Aww.
Because we all got to go work Monday morning.
Aww.
But oh well. No, it was good, though. It was good. I had a good weekend. It wasn't too bad.
That's good.
Well, that's cool.
You know who else had a good weekend this weekend?
Oh?
The Meg.
Oh.
Oh, the updated Jaws movie.
Yes, yeah. That's kind of basically how I feel about it too. But I've really come to the conclusion you can put a shark in just about anything and people will watch it.
Apparently.
Well, Sharknado is living proof. I mean, I guess the last Sharknado came out, so everybody's all hep on that too. So sharks are if you
Sharks are in.
Oh, you just have a shark week?
Yeah, there's a Shark Week.
There's Shark Week on usually on Nat Geo, or is it Discovery Channel? I don't know.
I've never really. It's not been my thing. The whole shark thing is never been something I understood, but I'm convinced that the next trend is you could take zombies and you could take sharks, and if you put them together, boy, you really got something. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, and when you put the top shark jaw to the bottom shark jaw, you got Chomp. Yeah.
Okay. There's that. I don't know, maybe it's just me. I'm just fascinated by how many people are absolutely fascinated when they have a movie like this. It's like, here we are, like how many years removed from Jaws, and in some of these shark movies, just people just flock to them like crazy.
Well, maybe there's a number of reasons for that. Okay, and that is, look at all the releases as of late. Not everybody is into superheroes. Okay. Not everybody is into spy movies. Okay. Not everybody is into documentaries. Okay. So, what do you have? You have movies like Meg. And
Meg.
I think it's more curiosity that drives these people to go see these movies. Maybe.
I don't know. I know
I can't see myself standing in line. Oh my gosh, it's a shark movie. Oh boy, how many teeth the shark has.
Yeah.
Oh, how many fins does the shark have? Is it going to be in 3D? Is it going to be on IMAX? Oh my gosh, how big is the shark?
Nobody talks like that.
People who like sharks do.
Mike, maybe I'm wrong. It seems like the whole thing is kind of like zombie movies, right? Where people like absolutely go nuts for, like, there's an entire community of people where it's like, if it's got zombies in it, we're there.
Right.
Have they started filming Zombieland 2?
Not yet. I don't think so. I don't think they've started filming Zombieland 2.
And what, Walking Dead is on, season 8, I think?
No, 9.
9? Yeah, okay, season 8. Okay.
9.
How many more seasons can we draw out of this franchise?
We'll find out.
As many as people continue to watch.
That's right.
I guess so. Speaking of things coming, did I mention that the Deadpool pinball game is going to be
yes,
over?
You mentioned that twice last week.
Okay, well, I'll mention it one more time.
It's in production.
Yeah, it's going to be a big deal, and we're doing a feature release party over at Logan Arcade in October. So I will keep you updated as to when that will be.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, Deadpool 2, that comes out on DVD, I think, it'll be out by the time this airs. By the time this is out for download.
Ah.
So,
yeah,
I guess I'll watch the super duper cut eventually, but I'm not in a big hurry.
Yeah, it's already on demand, so that I'll be on. I'm not buying the DVDs, but at this point, this stuff is all available on demand already. So it's kind of crazy. It's like, you're kind of sitting there going, wow. Yeah, it is something dawns on me too, real fast, just to go back to the Meg thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We talked about how in August there usually seems to be one movie that finds that sweet spot where there's really just not much out there and it turns into a dominant movie. And I wonder if this is what's happening with the Meg.
Because you're saying that there's a celluloid slump happening, and so everybody's swamping to this thing?
Well, I mean, I'll be curious to see, because I know the movie you've mentioned, The Happy Time Murders, is coming out this week, which is the one about the Muppets. But yeah. I'm not seeing nearly the promotion I would expect or suspect by it.
Well, I've seen a lot of promotional shorts on IG. They're doing a lot of small media things against large televised situations. and because of its subject matter, and which is the big thing that seems to have everybody at Jim Henson Productions kind of up in arms over it, but it's not your Jim Henson Muppets.
Well, right.
And the fact that it's going to take pretty much what you thought about the Muppets and turn it totally upside down.
Well,
and you're going to hear things from these puppets that no child should ever be exposed to. But if you're a crazed adult like myself, who kind of fancies these type of naughty little risque after-hour type of shenanigans, well, this is the movie for you to see. It's guilty, actually, because you're thinking, oh my goodness, they actually done this. And the plot in of itself, yes, it's a total ripoff, but looking at it from a point of view of, all right, who would have thought to go ahead and totally perverse the Muppets? And, well, will they get away with it? Only time will tell. But for this guy,
well, it has been done, I think, to a lesser degree, like on Adult Swim.
Well,
they made fun of the Muppets and Sesame Street.
The musical Avenue Q, which is ironically here in town currently, in Chicago. I can't remember what theater it's at right now, but Avenue Q has been out for a long time, and it doesn't go nearly as far, but it certainly does along those lines.
It borders it, right?
It goes beyond. It's at the Mercury Theater. It's actually at the Mercury Theater now and through November if you're in the Chicago area. Highly recommended. I've seen it. It's funny. It's almost more based on around a Sesame Street type theme than I think Happy Time Murders would be. So, I mean, it has been done. It's just they're taking it up about 5 notches.
Yeah,
on the level of where they're going with it, and I'm like, okay.
Well, they're really pushing the envelope on it. They're doing the South Park of Muppets now.
Right.
They're going to see how far they can push the F word. They're going to see how far they can push the sexual innuendos. They're going to see how far they can push the nuances of good taste, if any taste at all.
I was going to say, I don't know that it's going to have any good taste at all, quite frankly. Well, no.
Well, no, it's going to be a root fest, is what it's going to be. But once in a while, a root fest is not necessarily a bad thing.
Just like 1 or 2 years ago when they did that animated film Sausage Party.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's bordering between trying to be clever and just being totally stupid. And half the people that made that Sausage Party got ripped off. They didn't even get paid.
Yeah, a lot of that. Yeah, I read the whole controversy about how the animators got screwed when they were trying to meet deadlines for the making of that film.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Yeah, well,
it was terrible in its conception. It's just right up there with the Emoji Movie. What the hell was that all about?
Well, that's called there's money to be made, and let's give it a shot.
Yeah, but where do you border on taking something such as basic as emojis and decide to draw, hundreds of thousands of dollars into this in the hopes that you're gonna fire back with at least breaking even if you break it all. I mean, why do such a thing? It's an emoji.
I mean, really,
it's a sausage.
I mean, really, at that point, it comes down to what kind of script did you end up with? Did you end up with, what kind of money were you putting into it to begin with? If you didn't put in a ton of money to begin with, is it that you want to make it in the box office, or is it that you're looking at it from a long-term perspective of, okay, we'll make some of it back on DVD, we'll make some of it back when we sell it for catalog purposes to whatever network
we do for download, yeah.
Well, I'm on Box Office Mojo right now, and the Emoji Movie had a budget of $50 million.
Yeah, that doesn't shock me.
And the worldwide box office receipt was $217 million total. So with promotion, it made some money.
Yeah, no, then to answer Ivan's question, they'll make more movies if they can do that.
Yeah.
I guess so.
If anything, I'm kind of surprised with the numbers that you're talking about, that they're not talking about a sequel.
Maybe it's just because it was so poorly received, they said.
Well, yeah, it's poorly received, but like you just said, it took in $217 million, and you put out $50 million.
So it made its money back plus a tiny little profit. But do you think they're going to actually think that lightning is going to strike twice on such a thing?
Well,
and
that might be why you're not seeing a second one. And in fairness, this goes back to, all right, if the second one if in the second one they fix the script and they make it worthwhile, and next thing you know, yeah, it could be worthwhile.
Yeah,
I don't know that that's really going to happen.
It did win the Razzie for Worst Picture.
Did it? Okay. Hey, speaking of movies that are in bad shape, did you guys hear about Kevin Spacey's film that opened over the weekend?
Yes.
So,
what movie was this?
So, Kevin Spacey is all wrapped up in the Me Too thing, which I don't even want to touch at all. But because of it, he's been pretty much radioactive. So there was a movie that they released with it, and they didn't do much promotion or anything out there. Matter of fact, according to Variety, it debuted in 11 theaters across the United States.
11
total.
They totally lowballed it because they knew what they were going to be up against.
Well, the point is it was basically along the lines of, we're releasing it, and ironically, from what I understand, it was first released, and this is what's not been talked about. It was released on demand, and my understanding is it made about 1.5. It made 1.5 on demand, but here's the thing. This is where Ivan's going to get his mind blown. Take a wild guess how much it made on its 3-day weekend, Ivan, on 11 theaters.
Okay. Would it be short to say, I don't know, maybe several million?
No.
Oh,
No.
No. You're way off.
Okay.
Remove a couple of zeros.
Remove a lot of zeros.
That bad, huh?
Yes.
For a 3-day total of $618.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy, did that suck a big kazoo.
Well, the funny part is I don't know that it's really a bad movie. It's just
no one's going to see it.
Let's put
because
it
of Spacey's situation.
You put it on 11 theaters, it's almost as all along the lines of, okay, we're obligated to release it somehow. We'll do the.
So you think that maybe the studio just decided to deep six it?
It seems like it.
I've got the headline here from it's on Deadline, and I guess there was a Chicago theater that did play it.
Was there?
Yeah.
I'm not seeing one on Variety.
Let me check on the Fandango. What was the name of the movie? Billionaire Boys Club?
Yes. Yeah.
So that's a red flag right there when you put a Kevin Spacey movie with the word boys in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the whole Me Too movie.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I think this guy.
And in fairness, it's not like this. So basically, this movie was made before all hell broke loose for Kevin Spacey, because the cast is a good cast, is a decent cast. It's Taron Egerton, the guy from Kingsman, the kid from Kingsman. Emma Roberts is in this, and I don't recognize the other name, but I've seen this name for.
As of Tuesday the 21st, one theater in Chicago is playing it.
Okay.
It's at the Cinemas Entertainment 10 on Roosevelt Road in Chicago.
Okay, so a downtown theater.
Oh wow!
That already has trouble filling its seats.
I didn't realize this. Apparently, the company that released this is a company called Vertical Entertainment. You know what else Vertical Entertainment released this summer? John Travolta's Gotti.
Oh yeah.
Oh no.
Another one that was.
That is, talk about That's
One
something weird.
4-letter word, tank.
Well, I mean, okay, so that's 2 bombs. That's 2 huge bombs. I mean, that for most companies, that's it. I'd be impressed. That's especially two summer. Ouch. That's painful.
Well, yeah. Well, it sounds like what Disney was back in the 1970s, the studio of last resort.
Oh yeah, what was the number one film list? It wasn't The Meg, was it?
Yeah, it was.
No, Crazy Rich Asians was the number one film this weekend.
Well, wait, hold on. It says international box office.
Oh, international, okay.
Wait, hold on. Let me pull this up. I got Variety here.
All right. Because according to Box Office Mojo for the weekend, at least domestic.
Yes, that's what it is.
Okay.
That's what it is. Crazy Asians was number 1 at the box office.
Crazy Rich Asians.
Oh, I'm sorry, Crazy Rich. I'm going to get a lot of trouble.
They're crazy rich, not crazy.
Yeah, Crazy Rich.
Here we go with the Nicole Richie Paris Hilton angle again.
Huh?
I think it was done a little more classy than.
Yeah,
it's not like an Asian Paris Hilton. No.
Yeah.
And what was her name? She played Philippa Giorgio in Star Trek.
Let's see. Hold on. I got a cast list here.
Oh, okay.
I guess it's based on a book.
Yeah.
And it stars Constance Wu, Henry Golding, Gemma Chan. I'm going to pronounce this name horribly.
Michelle Yeoh. Okay.
Michelle Yeoh, Ken Jeong.
Yeah. Okay.
My understanding is I believe. I mean, I know this was a big deal for the fact that you're talking about a demographic that's not portrayed as well. I shouldn't say as well, but as much as they should.
Yes.
In movies like this, so I know this was kind of a big deal. But yeah, the Meg is still. The Meg pulled in another $21 million in North America, and I guess Mission Impossible for Tom Cruise is surpassed $500 billion worldwide. So,
good on him.
I mean, these are what's kind of hot right now.
All right. I know I was kind of cracking down kind of hard on the whole Tom Cruise thing. All right.
I
guess there's still people out there that like that sort of thing.
Well, okay. So that dovetails to the other rumor. I'm assuming Mike's heard this one, and I'm like, I can't believe this is where they would go. Have you heard the rumor that they're talking about Tom Cruise to play Hal Jordan?
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Why not?
Yeah, that's what my reaction was too. I'm like, could you
to play who?
The original Green Lantern.
Yeah. They're talking about how they're talking about Tom Cruise for that, and I guess for Justice, if Zack Snyder was still around, they were talking to Mark Wahlberg.
I'd be okay with Tom Cruise maybe as a passing the torch film to give the Lantern to Jon Stewart. Make a Lantern Corps movie. I think I'd be okay with that.
Here's the thought. I know who they should get. They should get Ryan Reynolds. Yeah.
Not on your life. I don't think that's going to happen ever.
Yeah, I don't think that will happen ever.
Yeah.
But why would you pick? I mean, they just. I don't know. I don't get it. There's got to be another actor. I mean, there's got to be somebody you could pull in, and it's. I don't know. I just don't see it.
So far.
Right. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So far, well, yeah. When is Solo coming out? I think that's August or September. I think Solo comes out on DVD. That should be coming soon.
It's got to be soon. I would assume.
And speaking of movies, real quick, I just want to make a note that it's official now that Netflix has removed all customer reviews of shows and movies from their website.
Have they really?
Yeah, as acting on here, I got the headline here from the article here from Yahoo. Is that acting on an announcement made in July, Netflix has now removed all customer contributed reviews of TV shows and movies from its site. The opinion database was a desktop-only feature, so it's likely mainly mobile users, and Netflix won't even have been aware of its existence. But indeed, Netflix cited lack of use as a reason for ditching it.
I don't know about that. That's always one of those. It's funny, 'cause there may not have been people using it, but the minute it gets out about something like this, people get angry.
Mm-hmm.
People get angry about that stuff.
I think it might be just because people, like, in this day and age where people be trolling, you know? Like, I remember, like when Amy Schumer's, like, stand-up special came out, it got a lot of bad reviews, like, the day it came out. And just people who might not... It was like, sort of like how the James Gunn situation, where you don't agree with this person or actor or celebrity in particular, if you don't agree with their politics, you're going to bash everything they make for the sake of doing it.
Right.
I can't believe that's still going. By the way, I think that's finally done now. My understanding is they actually sat down with James Gunn again and had another meeting with him, and now it's yes, that's it. They're done. But they are going to use his script, my understanding.
Okay.
So, but it's like this James Gunn thing has taken on a life of its own, and I don't know. I mean, to me, I would like to see James Gunn back, but that's me. But I understand where people on the other side would point and say, well, okay, what about Roseanne? And I don't want to get into it now, but it's just.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. When they finally start filming, we'll see what happens with that. But until then, it's all going to be talk. So I'm
curious to see given what's going on, that James Gunn is probably gotten calls from every other studio in Hollywood while all this is going on. That's the case.
Well, a bad or good publicity is still publicity.
No, it's just the fact that he make good content.
Right. Well, that helps too. I mean,
the
track record's there. He had two phenomenal movies in both of the Guardians movies. So if I was going to look to relaunch a franchise or something, as a matter of fact, it was funny. I know fans of a lot of the DC movies are like, okay, put him in charge. He gets it.
Well, and then on that premise, it all translates into money. Now, whether or not a man's own sensibilities are what they are, as long as that man makes money for the studio, hand over fist, and comes up with a stellar product, I guess money in some cases just turn people's cheeks in another direction.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, like I said, I mean, I can think of a few franchises there's a few franchises off the top of my head that could
benefit from that?
I'm sorry?
I said there are a few franchises that you would feel would benefit from James Gunn's input.
Oh, absolutely. Without question. What James? Okay, I'll ask Mike. What if James Gunn took over Transformers?
Well, at this point, we're waiting with bated breath to see if Bumblebee's any good. I mean, we know that Bay's still an executive producer on this project. Well, we're hoping that this one is going to have an actually good story and some good characters, and not just use the Transformers as just CG effects that do silly things, or they do murderous things, or just do things that aren't even in character of what the original people do. So, I don't know. Are you asking me? Well, I don't know. You're asking me if I see on the billboard a Transformers 8 or whatever, a James Gunn film. I don't know. Sure, I'm going to go see it, but that's my bias. But
right, but
I know I have good faith that he's made some good movies and he knows good stories. But again, it's the whole thing about he didn't. He's made some. Yeah, whatever. We all know what James Gunn has done.
Right.
So
I just think you'd feel a lot happier about it than
Michael Bay. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's almost like a lesser of two evils type of feeling.
By the way, Mike, did you catch? Apparently, Hasbro and DC Comics apparently have been in court over the name Bumblebee because
yes, I did read some of
that. The Titans character is Bumblebee, and they've been used and so I'm like,
Yeah,
Yes,
my understanding of that was that they were going to create a crossover. Is this correct?
No. They've just settled on because Hasbro was created some kind of turmoil over the fact that Mattel is making Bumblebee toys. At the same time, Hasbro is making Bumblebee toys because now Bumblebee has become a forefront character after being just forgotten in G1 back in the 80s. But now with the Bay movies, Bumblebee has become a very prominent character, obviously having his own movie this winter.
Right. Well,
so they settled on it. It's just a stupid lawsuit. Like, people are going to get the two confused.
Well, in fairness, I kind of laugh because really, in reality, to me, it did make me think about something else, which is with all the characters that DC Comics has out there, Bumblebee, their Bumblebee is one where I'm a little surprised that they haven't done more with, because there's a lot there to work with, and in fairness, it's not like they haven't used her. She's been, there have been times where she's been in the Titans cartoons, and
right.
She's been in the comics. It's just she hasn't been brought to the forefront, and in fairness, I'll be honest, I haven't read anything recently. For all I know, she's in a comic someplace recently right now.
No.
But to me, I kind of like, wow, there's an opportunity where you could do something unique where, if you're talking about diversity, that's a long-running character. She's been in the DC universe forever. Why not bring her?
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing is about the toys. That's why Hasbro finally decided to step in and say, "Hey, wait a second. We know that." I guess they're using a lot of these second and third tier DC female characters in this Hero Girls or whatever, this animated series that's been out.
The Hero Girls.
Yeah.
They're only like 4-minute blips. Those Hero Girls.
Yeah.
Right. Well, like I said, the irony is, like I said, it's just interesting because Ivan, the only reason you saw about a crossover is I joked that they should do a crossover, Bumblebee and Bumblebee.
Okay.
I wouldn't do a movie that way, but I would certainly. There's no reason why you couldn't.
But why not do it as a comic book crossover?
Right, a comic book crossover.
I think it would be a very entertaining foil.
Well, IDW has done crossovers between Ninja Turtles and Batman.
Right. Well,
maybe like a comic. Who knows?
Crossovers. There's been, I know that Aliens and Predators have crossed over to Marvel and DC on a few occasions. I can't remember what else. Yeah. There have been a few of those types of things that have been out there, and they've been out there for a while. So yeah, it's definitely doable. What's the one that's out there right now?
Well, there's an IDW crossover between Transformers and Star Trek that's coming up soon. I'm gonna have to
there's that.
Looks like it's based on TAS, which is awesome because that's what got me into Star Trek back as a little kid, was the animated series, the original animated series, the Filmation one.
Oh, I know what it was. They're doing a crossover, like the Batman 66.
Oh, and Archie, yes.
Archie.
And Archie, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's a cool idea.
I got issue 1. I haven't read issue 1 yet.
Okay. Yeah, no, that looked kind of fun. That's...
And they did do Batman 66 and Wonder Woman 77 crossover.
Okay. Well, that makes sense.
And I read a couple issues of that. It was all right.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Hey, I guess this will have been passed by this point, but I'm curious to get Ivan's take. I guess Thriller is no longer the top-selling album of all time now.
Oh, you're talking about that bourgeois scanning situation that created that whole foible? Really? Seriously?
No.
Yeah, no. I read that. I read that. Okay. It has gone platinum 38 times. Okay. The greatest hits album. Yeah, the one that is in every other's rock and rollers record collection.
Not mine.
What now? Well, that's why I said every other person's record collection.
Except for Mike Boyle.
No, you're not the only one. I don't have it either.
Well, I liked a couple of their songs. I'm not a fan. but I like a few of their songs. I'm not gonna fib. But 38 times platinum big. Okay, this is where we start going into the whole. All right, where did they get their numbers? And then finding out that they're bringing in the scans and they're bringing in the downloads and they're bringing in the streams and they're bringing in all this stuff. Yeah, well, this is a number created within the digital era. Now, if those situations existed in the time of Thriller would probably be still the best-selling album ever. So this is why I don't agree with this, with what they had written there and what I had read there. I don't agree because it's based on all this new technology, and of course, it's going to bolster a situation to a whole new generation of fans who have either never heard the Eagles before, or they've been grandfathered in through their parents or grandparents, whichever one you want to use.
I will say this: if this was going to happen, I am a little bit surprised that it's somebody who isn't a current artist, if you understand what I mean.
No, I understand exactly what you mean.
I'm a little, I don't know, I'm a little shocked that it's like, of all the things that would be beating Michael Jackson's Thriller, I would never have guessed.
The Eagles.
All things. I mean, that just seems like it came from left field.
And again, it just comes from the whole collective of everything digital. Everything that is of the internet and such. Again, had these tallying techniques were existent in Michael Jackson's day, I'm sure that this would read an entirely different scenario. But because it's now, and okay, if this is such, then where are all those new artists at this point in the game who are in the now making? You mean to tell me that they're not making nearly as many platinum records as, say, an album that's been around since 1976?
Wow, but didn't we figure that out in our last show when we talked about the Billboard Hot 100?
Exactly, yeah.
We were sitting there shocked by who was and wasn't where and why and all that stuff. Where you're.
No, it was more of the same.
Right. Well, yeah. No,
I'm not saying that the numbers are lying, but the way the numbers are being tallied leaves me a bit askew.
Well, it reminds me of like when was it that they changed how they counted the radio ratings, where
we were all in radio. You remember we had to fill out those BMI charts and those ASCAP papers. Well, some of us did, and you figure all of these things were done by hand before the advent of having everything thrown into a laptop and then tallied that way and sent at the speed of sound. But then even then, that wasn't an exact science.
Oh, it definitely wasn't an exact science. I mean, when you really stop and think about it now, I mean, when they moved to the current system, it opened a lot of eyes about what people were really listening to versus what people would write down.
Exactly.
Where, like, I can't remember off the top of, like, I know one of the big ones where it finally got revealed was, for years Steve Dahl had been on the air. A lot of people I talked to were like, have you listened to Steve Dahl in the last 10 years? No. I mean, and then, okay, when you counted the real, actual, what people really were listening to versus what they wrote down was very, very different. So great,
Well, hey, and you also have to keep in mind, too, that all of the radio play, and of course, still existing today, the pay-to-play radio situation. You can sit there and tell me it don't exist. That's bullshit. And you get these people that'll sit there and, mock up the books, run around with 2 books. Okay?
I don't know if they have to, though, Ivan. I mean, with how much they've relaxed the rules, I mean, isn't Live Nation, I could be wrong about this, but, you know, Clear Channel has the whole KISS thing going on, where they have all those channels, and I could have swore they have an arm within Clear Channel that does live shows, where they promote live shows. And to me, I'm kind of like, okay, that screams of the problem, but it's almost even more blazing than it used to be.
Well, yeah, well, there's my point. And also, too, you remember a few years ago that Sony Music got into a big to-do about payola. It was, I think it was in the last 10 years, I think, that happened, where they ended up they were being accused for pay-to-play. So it still exists. It's still out there, which kind of shakes this whole 38 times platinum thing for me. Okay,
but it's based on sales, Ivan.
Okay, yeah, but it's based on sale. But okay, yeah, I could see platinum sales for that album. Okay, but not 38 times platinum. I mean, who likes the Eagles that much? Obviously, maybe a whole lot of people out there. I guess. All right, maybe I could be wrong, but it just behooves me that that just blows me away. Then the fact that now everybody talked about the Thriller album, the Holy Grail for decades, since 1984.
Yeah.
So we're talking more than 30 years.
Yeah. I will just real fast to bring it back. I'm looking at Wikipedia. Clear Channel has what's called Live Nation. And apparently they spun off Live Nation in 2005, but there's overlap on some of the boards between iHeartMedia, which would be like the KISS FMs and all that stuff, and Live Nation. So if you don't even need to talk about payola anymore, it's right here. You know, if you're doing that stuff and then you're doing, if you're promoting the live events, sure, you're going to play certain music because, hey, we're bringing this concert in. I mean, to me, that's just a no-brainer.
Right.
But maybe that's just me.
No, I don't think that's just you. I see where you're coming with that, though. So there's
if you've got it in with the machine, then that's what's going to happen. That's what's going to get played.
Happen. So, you become the cog. Be the cog.
Yeah. Well, but we're seeing, I mean, that's been the case for a while now, which is, as time has gone on, more and more media has become more and more integrated. And the only time recently where, I shouldn't say that, I take it back. There was a period of time where, I believe during the Obama administration, at one point AT&T tried to buy T-Mobile and that didn't happen, or they didn't allow that. Or recently, Sinclair was trying to buy Tribune and that seems to have fallen apart and that's dead. But look at all the other stuff that's been going on. I mean, like, AT&T and Warner's just merged. Or is it Warner's? I thought, wait, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's Universal. Who just merged with AT&T?
I think it's Universal.
Is it Universal?
I think it's Universal. Very sure. I'm pretty sure.
It's Time Warner. It is Time Warner.
It is Time Warner?
Yeah, it is Warner. I was right the first time.
Okay.
It is Warner, but I know what you're thinking, which is Universal is NBC and Comcast.
There it is. Yeah, that's right.
I mean, that's where we are now.
Everybody corporately is connecting up.
Yeah, everything's stacked up. I mean, and
it's starting to become the monopoly that AT&T once upon a time when it was Ma Bell, where that was the only game in town in telephone and cable to cable, coast to coast services. And I could tell you that from experience, having worked at Western Electric, Bell Telephone myself for a number of years. I saw the tear out and the laydowns of the new fiber optics and the new computer integrating systems, the Junter grouper frames and everything else that was created for that very much purpose of saying, okay, we're going to go ahead and start going into the modern age, and all the little guys were busy pissing and moaning of, wait a minute, why are you guys the only game in town? Why about us? What about us? And that's what led to the big breakup of the monopoly back in the early 1980s. But now, look who owns the lines again.
Well, yeah, it's between...
It all just came back around again.
Well, it is interesting, though, because as much as we're talking about all this, think about who we're also talking about, though, as competitors, and this is the crazy part, like Netflix. Netflix, who, at the end of the day, controls none of that. Netflix doesn't control any of that. Amazon doesn't control... Well, let me rephrase that. Amazon has its own...
Well, they have their own entities.
Their own entity. But
they're creating their own content now.
Right. But at the end of the day, if tomorrow AT&T turned around, if AT&T or Comcast or somebody like that turned around and was like, hey, we're gonna jack up your prices on internet costs, both of those guys are in big trouble.
Right, because then they can just as easily say, well, listen, you got a choice. Either you pay us or we'll buy you out.
Right. Well, but it is interesting though to see how those companies like an Amazon and a Netflix are going toe to toe with companies like a Disney, where we just watch Disney and we're like, Disney is behemoth now. I mean, they bought out Fox. I mean, geez, it's getting to the point where it's like they are monstrous. And ditto now, you look at what Time Warner is merging with AT&T, and think about all the things they can do. And you've got Universal and NBC with Comcast. And yet, here's Netflix. Here's Netflix. Here's Hulu. Here's all
the little guys. Here we go again.
Back in the day, like in the 70s and 80s, we had the 3 networks. Before cable came and moved back in the 70s, we're the 3 networks. Now, ABC's part of Disney. I don't know if ABC's always been part of Disney. Or
no,
ABC just bought. Yeah, and then NBC is
ABC.
ABC and NBC now is Comcast. CBS is now Paramount, owned by Paramount, right?
Right. No. So what's happening is you get these guys who are in the movie making, television making businesses hooking up with all of the people that are broadcasting all of this stuff. And they're assuring that their programming is going to get out there one way or another. And it's becoming a monopoly of sorts, if you think about it.
Well, but here's the scary part. Here's the interesting part, though. For all of us talking about how there are all these big boys, okay? Tomorrow, there's somebody in a garage somewhere who is going to upset the apple cart, and we'll be talking about them in 10 years from now and sitting there and talking about where did they come from out of nowhere,
Or it's going to end up being that someone's going to make a better situation, and you're going to have all of these guys who are monopolizing that situation saying, hey, we want what he's got, so let's put him out and let's take what he's got. Look what happened with Tucker.
I mean, to that point of view, I mean, we could certainly go to this route, which is, and Mike, I think you caught this too, which is that Disney announced that in 2019, after 2019 or in 2019, they're moving content.
Yeah. Ant-Man will be the last new Marvel film that'll be out on Netflix.
Well, and I think that goes for other Disney properties too.
Yeah.
Now the Marvel Netflix shows will stay, like the ones that were created specifically for Netflix. Those will stay, but they're going to stop sending Disney movies, and I guess possibly Fox movies and Star Wars to Netflix. And I'm curious how that is, if that will or won't affect Netflix.
All I'm saying is that Mickey Mouse is an awful hungry mouse.
Oh, hey, Jeff, did you catch the little teaser reel of the Star Wars Resistance series?
I did not.
Yeah, it don't look too bad.
Okay.
It looks, I think Poe Dameron and BB-8 are in it.
Okay.
And it deals, I think, just like a young bunch of scrappers. A young bunch of, just some rascally mischief makers out to give the First Star Order a what for. But it looks interesting. I'll watch it a little bit. I still need to get caught up on Rebels, man. I'd really like to just binge watch Rebels. Finish it. So,
yeah,
looks good.
One of these days I should watch some of the cartoons. I've just never, I don't know. It's funny. I love Star Wars, but yet I haven't watched a cartoon in ages. So I really should pick it up. But
I gotta be in a mood to watch Rebels.
Okay.
That's me though. So yeah, the media monopolies are around and about, but you're right. Like I said, someone could be the next Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos is right around the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that's the weird part about all of this is we sit there and we talk about look at how big these guys have gotten, and yet, like we said, who's going to come out of nowhere?
Also, too, you're going to get these guys that are just going to get too big for their britches, and it's going to be Edison versus Tesla in that type of epic mudslinging, trash talking, dirty pool type of taking over who's going to watch what.
Well, I do think it's interesting because I will say this, that I think it's a good time. I think it's a good time to be a writer.
Yeah.
I think it's a real good time to be a writer right now because if you can create content and you can prove that you can produce, there's big money waiting for you.
Well, here it is. It's anybody can create content. It's the gift of creating great content.
Well, that's what I mean.
See, everybody can create content, and of course you've seen an example of what some of this content is. But then you got people, when they create that great content, it creates franchises. It creates things that are remembered for decades on end. The epicness of it, the heroicness of it, the wealth of it.
You want to watch somebody
that you live your life living it vicariously through that person's writing.
You want to watch somebody go off on a tangent on that? And Mike, would you say that Michael Bay has done that for Transformers?
Michael Bay has contributed greatly to the Transformers franchise. For good or ill, it has turned the franchise into a household name. Consistent with like Spider-Man and Batman.
Okay.
But the content overall will not stand the test of time. Maybe the first one. But we're hoping that's what's going to happen with this Bumblebee movie. That's all.
Well, because as those of us who've watched the Transformers movies know that Michael Bay is a bit chop happy and a bit heavy handed.
But when you get the right names and you get the right promotion, you can get people in the seats in the theater. You can get all the downloads. It doesn't have to be exceptional, but if it's good and if it's promoted by the right people, like I said, Spielberg had a hand as an executive producer for the first Transformers movie with Bay.
Right, and that's why it went over so big.
Yeah.
Because of Spielberg's involvement.
And the media push and the cross-promotion and all of that.
And I'm sure the money that went behind all of that.
That's why they kept throwing money at Bay for 4 more movies after that, because it kept making money. But the 5th one, nope. When the 5th one stopped, that's when the studio had to make a course correction with Bumblebee.
Right.
We're hoping it's a good one. So that's all I'm saying. Yes, Michael Bay.
I like the fact that they went G1 on Bumblebee.
Well, he has more of a G1 kind of look. He still has the same kind of face.
Okay, so for those of us who have no clue, what do you mean by G1?
Generation 1, the original Transformers cartoon, where he's a Volkswagen Bug, not a Camaro.
Not a Camaro. because in its original inception, Bumblebee was that.
A VW bug.
VW bug.
Right.
Well, but that makes sense because isn't this movie set in the 80s?
Yes, it takes place in 1987.
Well, then that makes more sense. I mean, if sure, 20 years later, sure, I want to be a Camaro now. Who doesn't?
But at the same time, it gives those people who haven't had the opportunity to see it from its beginning, from its inception.
Yeah.
Or Bumblebee's inception.
And we're seeing the promotional material now come out, like the children's books and all the other merchandising, like Yogurt would say, of the Bumblebee movie stuff coming out soon. So.
Right.
I got a problem now because
there'll be Bumblebee backpacks that look like little Volkswagens for the kids this fall.
Right. Now I got a problem because I'm gonna have to see Bumblebee, and then probably like the next day I'm gonna have to go see Aquaman.
Yeah. What was that about? There's like a whole slew of movies coming out at like the same time.
5 movies coming out on December 21st.
Yeah, we posted something on this on the Squares the Roundtable Facebook page.
Find us on Facebook. Hit us a like button. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, so...
Hit us a like button.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Absolutely.
We insist that you hit us a like button. On the Facebooks.
On Facebooks. On the Books with Face.
That's right.
Yeah, alright, so Aquaman... Something called Fox's Attila Battle Angel. I don't know.
I have no clue what that is.
I guess it's a Robert Rodriguez and directed by James Cameron. So.
Oh, is that anime?
It's not anime. I'm not seeing it as. Is this anime? This can't be anime.
I think it is. Or maybe it is based on the anime or something.
I don't know.
What's this now?
Well, there's apparently like 5 movies coming out like right around.
Yeah, on the same day.
Around the same time frame.
Yeah. Aquaman. No, it's live action. Alita Battle Angel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something called Welcome to Marwan.
It's based on a manga. That's why.
Okay, Mary Poppins Returns. I didn't know that.
Yes, I've seen the rushes for that.
And Marwan, which is the Steve Carell Oscar bait, but directed by Bob Zemeckis.
Okay.
And coming to a small screen near you, the revamping of She-Ra. Have you seen that yet?
Yeah, I've seen bits and pieces.
My goodness, really?
Well, they're trying something new, but we'll see how it goes. If it's not for me, fine. I don't care.
Right. I mean, I think that's. I've really come to start to accept that these cartoons are not for me. This is what kids like now. I would prefer a more classic style of animation, yes, but this is what they love. And
I don't think it's a matter of what they love. I think it's just a matter of it all goes back to the genuine article, whereas a lot of those people who made those cartoons, who animated those cartoons, who designed those cartoons, have either gotten out of the field or died off, and these people who look at the old cartoons and says, well, these look good, but, let's try to modernize them and not have to put so much effort into the animation that originally went into them. Yeah. Let's see if we can streamline them to a point where we really don't need to work so hard at it. And this is why you get this loose kind of almost cookie cutter feel to a lot of the new cartoons today.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah. She-Ra looks like she stepped out of Steven Universe.
Thank you.
This is not a jab at Steven Universe. I'm just saying it, like I said, what Ivan said, it's starting to look like everything else.
Exactly, and it seems like Cartoon Network has taken upon themselves to start cutting. We're talking about creating their own media, creating their own, content.
Well, that's been that way for a while, though, Ivan.
I know that's been happening
Yeah.
for a while, true, but at the same time, you would think that after a while, somebody, we're going back to that guy in the garage again, could actually come out and make something that would bedazzle the situation like, wow, now that's something I haven't seen before.
Well, in animation, the latest person I've seen that, excuse me. In animation, the last time I've seen someone do that was Bill Hirsch, who did Gravity Falls. And the situation being is that he ended the series while he still had control of it. He didn't want to turn because it was on the Disney Channel. But he ended the series so that Disney, and Disney did not promote it as the season finale, as the series finale. He just ended the show. And he had a finale that he was worthy of his own
Well, he was able to have the grand finale.
Yeah.
On his
and
show.
not turn it into the endless summer where, what kind of hijinks they get into this time for way, way too long and let the show, jump the shark, so to speak.
So here's
another case in point, another show that had that wow factor. And you guys are gonna laugh at me, and I don't care. Kim Possible. Okay? Kim Possible, I watched from start to finish. I was the rough style of the animation was really, really appetizing. The stories were engaging. The colors were vivid. Was very funny when it needed to be funny. It was very suspenseful when it needed to be suspenseful. They were able to spawn off the movie. And again, before Disney had a chance to decide, let's go ahead and stretch the franchise out, they ended it on that note. With the end of high school, with the senior prom. And it was like, perfect. Works for me.
Here's the thing. As much as we sit there and say it all looks like the Japanese stuff and all this stuff, there is animation happening that doesn't look like that.
I haven't seen it.
It is happening. We do see it. It's just that when it comes to what we're seeing on TV, in terms of TV cartoons, yes, this is more prevalent, okay? But, like, for example, Mike just saw Death of Superman. You're not going to see anything that looks like that, okay? Nothing looked like that in Incredibles 2.
Yeah, I'm sorry, getting back to that for a moment. The only other thing that was kind of bothered me about Death of Superman was just, it was a little too, trying to be too bloody. You see a little bit of blood, and you don't see, it wasn't too gory, but there were some scenes where somebody died in a nasty way there just for a moment. And yeah, just because Doomsday is a nasty villain, he does nasty things, he does kill people. But it seemed like the death seemed a little bit too gratuitous, trying to be too edgy in quotation marks, but other than that, like, I noted out my nitpicks, but I was still entertained by Death of Superman. But I like the DC Universe films, and I'm gonna go back and get a couple other ones. Maybe the Titan ones looked pretty good. I've seen clips on YouTube.
Right, but the point being is there is animation out there that doesn't look like that stuff. But let's put this in perspective. There's a couple of things at work here, which is one, there was a period of time where American animation houses only wanted to do short runs because it was too costly and too expensive to do all that. And so Japan at that time frame was still very popular with animation. And so a lot of it got outsourced. Well, okay, you had an entire generation of kids who grew up on stuff that looks a lot more Japanese style. To the second point of what Ivan was talking about with Cartoon Network, yeah, this is one of my giant pet peeves with Cartoon Network, which is somewhere along the way, this has become about dollars and cents. And when I say that, there's a reason you don't see Scooby-Doo on regular Cartoon Network anymore. There's a reason you don't see Yogi Bear. Chances are, you can't even see DC Comics stuff on there. Let me tell you the most amusing part. For all the people who can't stand that Teen Titans Go show and all that stuff, you think Cartoon Network wants to keep that show? They don't make enough money on that show. They want something else that makes more money. But guess what? It's the most popular show on their network.
Right.
And they got to keep it. But otherwise, if it wasn't, it'd be gone. It'd be gone because they don't, even though DC is still part of Warner's and Cartoon Network is part of Warner's, at the end of the day, they want things that are owned by Cartoon Network, that are created by Cartoon Network, because at the end of the day, Cartoon Network makes more money that way.
Exactly. Also, too, the fact that we can't deny that Warner Brothers did buy the Hanna-Barbera library of cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
They own that now. When after I don't know if it was Hanna or Barbera that passed away a number of years ago, when the whole banana of Hanna-Barbera cartoons from Rough and Ready all the way up to what's been put out today, and has been brought up by Warner Brothers. They own the whole thing now.
Right.
Which now, okay, like their other cartoons, the Looney Tunes, just like a lot of their other cartoons, which now are owned by Warner Brothers. Yeah, no, to lease a Warner Brother cartoon, you got to have ducats to run the Warner Brother cartoons on a network now, because that's the money commodities that they have become. It was just like the theatrical cartoons of the 1930s to the early 1950s, where most of that early television content was leased from the big studios like Columbia and UPA and Universal and Walt Disney didn't do much television animation until Disneyland, the show itself, actually came to the networks and on the ABC network, which they were going to own years later. But that seed was planted a while ago. All right, I digress. But what I'm saying is, yeah, to run any of those cartoons now, even Boomerang can't afford those cartoons much anymore. I think in light of, okay, the Wacky Racers, that's done in-house. That's an offshoot, I believe, off of Cartoon Network. It's animated form.
Cartoon Network has a lot of their own content.
Right. And so that's what I'm saying. And so everything being done in-house, yeah, after a while, it's all going to start looking cookie cutter. It's all going to start looking the same. And to try to run any other type of cartoon, does Cartoon Network or Boomerang want to dish out that type of cash in the hopes that they're going to try to make that money return? Why would you do that if you're going to go ahead and just do it in-house and say, the hell with them, and we'll just put the money in our own pockets and screw everybody else? What do we care?
Here's the thing. At the same time, I don't want to go too far with this. And the reason I don't want to go too far with this is there have been pieces, and I'll admit I haven't watched Cartoon Network in a long time, but there have been pieces where they've done them, and I'm like, wow, that was cool. Or, yes, that was fun. Like, I used to love Foster's Imaginary Friends. Unfortunately, I don't see that show on very often anymore.
Don't see it at all.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, it's just like Dexter's Laboratory or okay, yeah, Powerpuff Girls were good for a hoot every now and again. Johnny Bravo, for those who used to like Johnny Bravo.
Yeah.
Ed and Eddie used to crack me the hell up. I used to like Ed and Eddie. Because their shenanigans were so ridiculous. They were so stupid. They were funny. And Robot Chicken, when it first started, was really good.
It's a different animal, though, because that's Adult Swim.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's Adult Swim. Okay, and all right. If we're not going to include that, then I digress. But as far as what was happening at that point with Cartoon Network against what is happening now, and I admit it, the only time I actually watch Cartoon Network anymore is when I'm going to McDonald's waiting for my sandwich. I sit down, they got it running on the television screen. And I just sit back and I'm just like, okay. The only other thing that has the only other thing that I think they still run out of the old thing is the old Tom and Jerry cartoons.
I don't know.
Yeah, you don't see those anywhere. Those are just so violent.
Yeah,
nobody airs those.
Boomerang still has them.
Okay.
Boomerang.
Yeah, that's the crazy part. Is it? I feel like they've moved
They moved all the older content over to Boomerang.
Yeah, it's getting to the point where it's that. Yeah, that's the crazy part is that. But so
okay, that's lost steam. So what are we going to do now?
I don't know. Good question.
Oh, does anybody have anything else that they have
I can watch
or anything?
I can watch Ivan go off on a long tangent about something that is going on while we're recording. But by the time this is over, it'll be long over. But the MTV Music Awards.
Okay.
I'm sure Ivan has.
It's still relevant? Question mark.
What? Is it even relevant? Is MTV even relevant about anything?
Wow.
I mean, okay. MTV has probably as much relevance as JBTV today, which I watched a few episodes of JBTV the other day, as a matter of fact, and I looked at that and I used to think this was cutting edge television. Now I look at it, I'm like, damn, was I stupid and high?
What was JBT? Where is it? Where are you watching it?
I'm watching it on regular air channels. I think it's like 28.3 or some crap like that. Yeah.
You don't know what station?
Not off the top of my head. I'll find out.
I remember it was a 94 when Matthew Sweet was touring for The Son of Altered Beast, his live EP. He was on JBTV, and they played a bunch of his videos. And the only time I got to see like the sum total of all his music videos that didn't come out, and that tape had worn out or whatever. But I remember JBTV. That was like he was on it in like 90s, and he was playing music videos.
And the episode that I saw had an interview with a couple of writers who were talking to Joey Ramone. And the book was called I Slept with Joey Ramone. This is how old this crap was. It really was funny as shit. Wow. And I just looked at this. I'm thinking, God, this is such a chop shop. I mean, it's so UHF. It's so Weird Al Yankovic UHF. Really,
yeah, kind of like low budget, kind of Wayne's World, kind of.
Yeah, it
camp like that.
Yeah, exactly. And the little, hint, hint, wink, wink, oh yeah, we were at our little conference, oh yeah, and that type of, that whole Jerry Garcia type of feeling, that you watched, when you're looking at all these bands with names who you've long either forgotten or just never went anywhere. So I think of the MTVs in that vein because after MTV got away from running videos to trying to become a competitor to other cable channels, which, in my opinion, failed miserably, although there are millions of people out there that would tell you differently. But then again, I can't wrap my head around MTV anymore. I remember Headbangers Ball, and that used to be a great show, and they were serious about what they were doing. I mean, they had interviewed hundreds of different bands. They gave great performances. There were times when they did live performances and such. And then you had, the videos on Friday night where they played the top 20. You had, you had all the different VJs. Yeah, believe it or not, that's what they were called. VJs that actually had their own shows and came up with their own content. You had, in the middle of the night, they were doing all the rap videos. They were the first station to do rap videos in hip-hop. Yo MTV Raps, there it is. There's the title of that.
Wow.
And
so, a long way to go, Ivan.
What now?
That's a long way to go to get your MTV Raps. You could have just asked.
Yeah, Yo TV Raps, man.
Yeah,
so,
in fairness, it's kind of. I will. Here's where I'll defend MTV, which is, I hate to say it. There's a reason why that stuff isn't on anymore.
And why is that?
Obviously, people weren't watching it. I mean, because if people were watching it, or let me take that a step further. obviously they're also getting better ratings with what they're putting on versus that type of programming. And I agree with you. It's unfortunate that that's the direction that MTV has decided to go. But on the flip side of that,
it all comes down to dollars and cents. I know.
No? Okay. What about Real World? Without Real World, we wouldn't have a lot of the things we see on TV today.
Oh, yeah, and that's unfortunate why we for Real World. I mean, reality television. Oh, boy.
But there is, okay, if that's your reaction, but there's a lot of people who like reality television.
Well, reality television isn't reality. But
but that's not here or there. The question is whether or not it's entertaining. I mean,
well, yeah, and a lot of people are entertained at watching the exploits of a bunch of people thrown together in a house, the exploits of 18 guys trying to go out with one girl or 18 girls trying to go out with one guy.
But those shows get ratings.
Yeah.
Well, and that's how entertainment has gotten degraded over all of these last 20 or so years.
So wait, Ivan, you mean to tell me that you think all reality television has degraded American entertainment? All of it.
Yeah, most of it's crap.
Okay, so have you ever watched Survivor?
Yes, I've watched Survivor.
I don't think that's crap.
Well, then that's your opinion. You're entitled to it.
Okay. Well, I don't think. Let's see. How about America's Got Talent? How about American Idol?
And what about it?
Without Real World, those shows don't exist. Or Dancing with the Stars. That a lot of these shows don't happen if it wasn't for the fact that Real World went out and did what it did, and then slowly but surely people began to see that this was something that could be done in terms of different types of television programming versus.
And I cannot speak for the consensus of people who view these television shows. Okay, if that's what they want to watch, and if that's what they want to see, that's all good and fine. I guess I like a little more meat on my bones when it comes to entertainment. That's just me. Maybe I might seem a bit stoic on certain points. Maybe maybe I might be a bit get off my lawn-ish. Okay.
MTV was a trendsetter in the 80s and 90s. Without some of the programming they had back then, we wouldn't have television as we have it today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. All right. And maybe to a percentage, I will give that to you. All right. But at the same time, not everything that came out in the situation of MTV from that has promoted anything, has promoted so much goodness. I mean, you had your good ones and you had your duds. And,
yeah.
I mean, okay, America's Got Talent. Okay, I'm happy to say that, all right. You get, the Simon Cowells and all the rest of that. Yeah, all right. You made for good TV, and many of those people who won on those shows, how many of them actually ended up spawning off real careers? Not too many.
Right.
Whoa. How many spawned off real careers from which show?
From America's Got Talent. How many of them really spawned off into real careers? How many of those people spawned off to real careers?
A lot of them have stayed in Vegas where they're doing shows.
Oh, yeah, Vegas. Wow.
Well, Vegas is entertainment.
I mean, if you could do a Vegas show these days, that's big money.
I know it's big money, but that's Vegas. Okay? I mean, J-Lo's been to Vegas. Mariah Carey's been to Vegas.
Whoa. So wait. So now we're discounting a Las Vegas hotel show? I mean, I understand where you're coming from, but that'd be like saying, okay,
I'm saying
Broadway, who cares?
Yeah, but no. What I'm saying is, yeah, you go ahead into Vegas, and I'm saying Vegas is an entertainment town, and Vegas, uses a lot of entertainment in their town. Now, do they got the staying power to say go to New York and do the same thing? Or go down to Florida and do the same thing, or Chicago and do the same thing, or California to do the same thing,
or Ames, Iowa, and do the same thing.
Why would they have?
I'm saying.
Sorry, just throw that in there.
in the 50 states, the vast majority of those people on America Got Talent, did they get out there, really?
Well, maybe not in a national landscape, but they're doing what they want to do. They're on stage. They're living the dream.
Yeah, they're living the dream, but here it is.
But what, Ivan?
But okay, do you hear of these people's names now?
Well, so let me put this in perspective. So, one of my goddaughters was on American Idol.
Okay.
And she was on television. She was actually, I think, in her season, she was the first person that they actually aired for an audition that year. She finished top 40, okay, in American Idol.
All right.
In fairness, I love her dearly. She just had her second child, and family has come first. And I kind of laugh because she's just 22 and she already got 2 kids, but she's been on American Idol. I can tell you right now that she works regularly in Indianapolis, and if she wanted to push more, she could have probably. But again, part of it is, does she want to leave Indianapolis? Is she willing to go somewhere else? But again, you got to understand, Ivan, you're right. Are they all out there making big money at the moment? No. Are some of them though out there making a living because they were on TV? I'll give you a perfect example. One of the people I'm hooked up on Facebook with, of all people, is William Hung. And I don't know, Ivan, if you know who that is.
No.
You remember William Hung from American Idol, Ivan?
No.
The Asian guy, the She Bangs guy.
No.
He was famous for being an epic fail during the auditions, but they brought him back because he was so popular. They brought him back for the finale, and he actually made an album, and it didn't.
Now that you mentioned that, now it's starting to come to me, yeah.
Right, so the irony is that guy has gone on, and now he's out there as a professional presenter and professional speaker. And he's parlayed that success and used it to go elsewhere to do what he wants to do. And he talks a little bit about that experience and how, he overcame that and all those aspects. And he found a different direction to go. And I see him put out stuff every day.
Wonderful.
Again, and trust me, I'm the first person to tear a whole bunch of stuff down. But to me...
No, I'm not tearing anything down. I'm just giving my opinion. Just like anybody else's opinion, opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one. And I'm just stating my opinion, and from my perspective, my maybe I'm acting like those guys up in the balcony over at the Muppet Theater, and trying, maybe it sounds like I'm trying to poo-poo everybody. I'm not. This is just my opinions, and
don't get me wrong, Ivan. I think Mike and I would agree with you that the last thing we want to watch is Teen Mom. We're not interested in Teen Mom.
Thank you.
But by the way, I'm looking at MTV's schedule, and scheduled for, I guess, Wednesday morning, they are doing TRL. I just don't know how regular they're doing TRL on the network.
Mm-hmm.
So they are doing some. But yes, you're right. Like, for example, at the times when they used to do the overnight, where they used to do music, they're not doing it anymore because I'm not seeing it here. They're going into other like reruns of certain things. Like, I think Ridiculousness is what they've got that they're running at night now, which people enjoy it. I mean, I'm not one of them. I agree with you. There's certain shows where I'm like, I'm with you, Ivan. I'm like, I'm not watching that. But in fairness, yeah, I've spent my time where I've watched Jersey Shore once in a blue moon.
I mean, I'm not totally dismissing, MTV.
And by the way, I don't know if you've ever seen it. That Wild and Out show that Nick Cannon does on that show is absolutely hysterical. That is a phenomenal comedy show.
Okay, and I will give you that because I like Nick Cannon.
That show is hysterical, and it's so wrong on so many levels.
Well, okay. Yeah, but that's sweet. But see, that we're talking Nick Cannon. I mean, here's a guy who went through the rigors, who was on Nickelodeon, who had a marriage once and now doesn't have a marriage, and he just, is resilient and he makes his way on through. But he's that type of personality. He just, he just keeps, coming to that fore. And yeah, I agree. Nick Cannon, yeah, give me, if he's on something, I'm there.
So, Mike, let's throw this a different direction. Mike, what memories do you have of the MTV Music Awards?
Oh, just the early days, like when you had like Eddie Murphy giving out awards to like Michael Jackson or Lionel Richie and Madonna, and just the heyday of the early years of MTV. But then came the later ones. Then when they started creating their own programming, you had the one guy from Bill and Ted. He had his own show. I forget what it was called, but he had we had Liquid Television, and I think without Liquid Television, I don't think we'd have Adult Swim.
Well,
like the mainstream cable format for adult animation.
I used to love Liquid Television. I used to watch Eon Flux.
Yeah.
Right. I guess my question is the actual
awards show. I don't know, just the musical performances.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, I remember, for example, when Napster was a thing, and for those of you who are younger who might be listening to the show, Napster was essentially, before iTunes, before any of that, you had Napster. Napster was a big issue because people were getting music for free and artists were mad. And I remember they brought out, I think it was Carson Daly and the guy who owned Napster came out to present something, and given the fact there was a whole bunch of artists in the room, they were not happy. But, there's stuff like that. There's, whatchamacallit, Kanye West with Taylor Swift is a more recent one.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you finish kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you finish the whole Kanye thing. Andrew Dice Clay got banned from MTV because he did the nursery rhyme.
And when Prince showed his butt cheeks,
right?
That one costume he came down from the ceiling or whatever.
Yeah.
I think the following year Stern made fun of it.
Yeah, Stern did something similar.
Yeah,
to that.
Buttman or something like that. Fartman, that's right, Fartman from the. Man,
right.
that movie of his, still holds up, I think. Is great.
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe not just because we're just radio people and we get some of the inside jokes, but that still was a great story.
Absolutely.
We're talking about Private Parts?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, great movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the only other, and then there's to me, number one with a bullet, but then I think this is a guy thing. Number one with a bullet is the year that thing with Christina Aguilera and Britney Spears and Madonna.
There was the kiss, wasn't
there?
Right,
that's what I'm talking about. Where Madonna comes down and lays one on Britney and then lays one on Christina.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And then Missy Elliott comes out to do like a rap spot in that whole thing. That was crazy. To me, and I'm positive there's stuff I'm missing, but there's I can't tell you in more recent years that there's been crazy. The most recent one that I can think of is the I'm gonna let you finish Beyonce thing with Taylor Swift and Kanye. That's the one I keep coming back to. I can't think of.
Yeah, Kanye once again has got to try to steal the light from everybody else. Speaking of Kanye West, did you guys see what that tirade he did at TMZ?
No.
Oh my goodness.
No.
Kanye West comes into TMZ studio, and the whole thing centers around a statement of, that black people chose to be slaves.
Oh,
and then he went on this long-winded rant, which was, filmed, was televised live, and people in the TMZ office were confronting him for everything that he was saying. It was like he just decided to go ahead and speak his mind, unfiltered, the way he felt like saying it. They kept the cameras on. The thing must have ran for about 20 to 25 minutes.
Oh, this happened back in May.
Yeah, this happened May was it wasn't too long.
Yeah, well, it's May, June, July, August. It's not too old.
I'm sorry. It was just one of those where you're like, the way you're talking about it, I'm like, is this recent? And I'm like,
this was back 3 months ago. Ivan just saw it. He doesn't have a cable box, so he just finally found this. This has finally found its way into Ivan's abode.
I guess.
Actually, I saw it at the time it happened, but it just that you talked about Kanye West, and it just sparked that memory in my head. Excuse me while I let you finish, and I'm just thinking, yeah, Kanye hasn't changed at all.
That crazy Kanye with a K.
Yeah. Well, crazy Kanye gets to go home to Crazy Kim, and I'm sorry. That's a beautiful thing.
If you like plastic. Okay, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really.
Oh, come on, man.
Oh, dude, come on.
No way. You're not going there. You seriously?
You know what?
All women are beautiful. Don't.
Yeah, I'm not saying that all women aren't beautiful. I'm not saying that all women aren't this and all women aren't that. But, okay, women, for me, okay, to stand on their own merits and to stand on their own principle, to stand on their own beauty, no matter what shape, size, color, or whatever the sensibility is with a woman, okay? And furthermore, okay, I'm a big proponent upon what is about, for women. I'm not sitting there, with all of that. Yeah, if Kanye goes home to Miss Kardashian, that's all good and fine. That's his thing and everything. But when you start thinking about how that all was created within the media framework and everything like that, I mean, is that really, me having a daughter, do I want to aspire my daughter to be like her? Or would I like my daughter to be more like, somebody a little bit more, to a sensibility that says integrity and intelligence and strength and courage and forthright and things that stand up.
Well, she's a wife and a mother of 2 children.
And she just went and talked to Trump about releasing somebody from prison.
Yeah.
Not everything is as seem, Ivan.
Yeah. I understand. I mean, I get where you're coming from. It's easy to lash out, man. Yeah. I hear you that there's certainly parts of Kim Kardashian that I will sit there and I will agree that that's not who you're looking for, and she's produced and she's this and she's that, but.
Okay, so speaking as a parent, not that I'm trying to make a deal of it, but see, when you have a daughter, like I've had a daughter, and you watch the content of the things that are on television and what's in the movies, and then you watch out for the kind of men, that she goes out with and such. There's a lot, it changes you as to what you once used to think about certain things. And so, my daughter is beautiful, and she has to confront other people that don't think that she's beautiful, or that she's big boned, or that she's heavy, or that she has a certain look about her, or whatever. She has to confront these things every day. Okay? And I have to be the parent, to make sure that I remind her every day of her life that all she needs to do is be who she is, because who she is will stand the test of time for always, for who she is, for how she feels, for what she thinks, and she should never be afraid to have to say what it is that she feels and how she should feel about everything else going on in her and around her and about her. And so it makes you more careful about the types of, influences that you want around your children. And I'm sorry, okay, Kardashian doesn't scream, parent material to me, okay?
No, I don't know that she's for. I don't think she's for kids anyway. I don't know that that's something I would be pointing out to my kids anyway. So that's a different answer.
So now that's why I wanted you to understand why I said and why I feel the way I feel. Because, okay, when you have children, you have there are certain things you have to be cognizant about when you have children. I mean, watching Disney Channel, yeah, okay. You want to watch Kim Possible? That's great. You want to watch this? Yeah, that's great. Okay. Pokemon and all of that. I don't know. I'm not too heavy on that sort of thing for you right now. Maybe when you get older. Okay. All right. And then once they get to an age where they start recognizing their changes and everything like that, and their attitudes start to change, and then you can't guide them quite as well anymore, because now they're being influenced by what's out there. And a lot of what's out there today is very scary. A lot of what's out there is very influential to, and if you try hard to give them the sense of right and wrong, although, like you, like me, like Mike, like anybody, everybody's gone through their trial by fire. Everybody's gone through their moment where it's like, okay, well, how wrong could this be, or how sneaky can this be, or whatever. We've all made our bad decisions. We've all made our good decisions. But then when you're a parent, you're hoping that when it comes to those decisions, that your experiences will give them something a little bit more to work with. And whether or not they follow that is anybody's guess, because the way things are today, as far as media and movies and music and everything else, we're being bombarded at the speed of light. What's on the internet? Everything's happening at the speed of light. How do you keep yourself, focused on, trying to decipher what's right, what's wrong, what can be, what should be, what may be. See? And so, again, there's my take on that. No, are you kidding? I'd be the first one to tell you about womanhood. I mean, strong women do not frighten me. I praise the strong woman. I praise the intelligent woman. I praise the good woman. I praise the righteous woman. I praise the woman that, stands, and nothing stimulates me more than a woman with a mind, a woman who can keep up in conversation with me, a woman who knows, just what that's all about, a woman who not only allows me to be me, but, I can go ahead and do the same for her and be with her and bring her up and do this thing as a man.
Just really glad it's stimulated, aren't you, Mike?
Yes.
I figured as much. Okay, I don't know. That seems like a good direction to pop this thing to an ending. Mike, any thoughts for next week, or?
No, as far nothing for next week. I don't think. We'll have a show next week, but we'll not have a show in 2 weeks.
Yeah, we will not have a show for Labor Day week. I'll try to take good notes, and I'm going to try to put together enough so that I can talk about the World Championship of Public Speaking, which is over the weekend, the finals. So I'm going to try to, it may be difficult for me to take good notes because, I'm sitting in the stadium to watch it. But I'll try to take some good notes, and I'll try to give some basics. I have a feeling it's going to be kind of just me going through it. But I'll have that for next week, and it should be interesting.
Yes.
And Ivan, where are you? Anything over the weekend you got?
No, he's on vacation next weekend.
Oh, that's right.
So
he's getting out of town.
Yeah, well, I'm going with my fiance over here. We're going to make our way out, and I will come back with stories about what I've seen and what I did, and all the places we've eaten, all the things we've viewed. I hope that where we're at, we're going to get to see the Happy Time Murders. I can give you a review on that.
Yeah, I will say this. The thing about Ivan's birthday is it was BE. You know that, Mike?
What's that?
BE, before 80s.
Yes. Long time ago.
Just a galaxy far, far away.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, man.
Speaking of not so far away distant galaxy, where can they find us on Facebook, Mike?
On Facebook at the Squares of the Round Table podcast page. Please like and share and, hey, follow us. We appreciate it. We are also on Instagram and Twitter. I'm kind of lackadaisical on those two, honestly, but we are on Instagram and Twitter at SOTRT Podcast. We are on YouTube. Hit a like, hit the subscribe. We appreciate it. Oh, and one last thing before we go. Kudos, big kudos to V103 for playing Aretha Franklin all morning on Thursday. Rest in peace, Aretha, Queen of Soul. We shall miss you.
Yeah, yep, the great Aretha Franklin.
Yes. So we shall catch you next week here on the Squares of the Round Table podcast on behalf of Jeff Stein.
Thank you.
And Ivan Rivera. Jive, Ivan.
Thank you so much.
All right, we'll catch you next time, everybody. We appreciate you listening, and hey, let us know if you want to hear a question or something for us. Send us an email at sotrtpodcast@gmail.com. We appreciate it very much for listening, and we'll catch you next time. So long, folks.
So long.